Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris Milton and I am the CEO of 323 Media and here to talk more about marketing that you can do for your business. And today we are talking about how one of the biggest hacks that you can do to grow your business is actually by building your own personal brand. And the reason that this is such a big deal is because it really hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, if we think back to some of the most famous CEOs and leaders that we have in all of time, the reasons that we buy from them because we trust the leadership doesn't necessarily mean that that person is actually delivering on the experience. And what I mean by that is, we as small business owners often think that everything should be us, everything should be connected to us, everything should be touched by us and the experience is driven by us. But in reality, the system that you've built is an extension of the brand that you've built, and your customers automatically understand that. In the exact same way that we all fell in love with Steve Jobs delivering all of the information and evolution and innovation that Apple went through, giving us the iPod and the iPad and the iPhone, but it wasn't us going to the store to buy it from Steve himself. Right? Same thing with Bill Gates. When we call tech support for Microsoft because we need some help with our Microsoft Excel or Word, it's not Bill answering the phone. Yet, as the public-facing leader of those two massive companies, we still feel like we're buying from them and buying into their vision. And I think this is something that more entrepreneurs and more business owners should be doing, especially moving forward here, because of how much you can leverage the tools that are available to create more content, repurpose more content, and leverage AI to create more customization and personalization. So in this video, we're going to talk about a few of those things and kind of why we're here, doubling down on a little bit more of some of the topics that we've talked about before in previous videos, and really give you a bit of a roadmap in terms of what you can do to make the content that you're creating an impact for your business. So let's get into number one. Number one is content is still king. This has been something that we've seen with many thought leaders over the years of internet growth through social platforms, that we've got people who, they're not influencers because they've got a big backing of a business that they're running. Someone like Gary Vee. Gary Vee is a big personality, but he has VaynerMedia. That's his day job, basically. And Gary Vee is his side hustle. We've got the difference between having someone who's just a massive brand and someone who's influential versus somebody who's actually talking about what they know and what they're learning on a day-to-day as they build their own company. And you can do that too. The type of content that you can create on a regular basis are things that really help people understand what you do, why you do it, and your philosophy behind the reason you run your company or what the day-to-day values are. One of the most interesting things that I think gets leaked every so often are internal memos. And one of them from Netflix that talked about hiring and the internal culture of people that they were hiring over the years was a massive hit. And I believe it's still one of the most viewed documents on LinkedIn, because we all want to peek inside. We all want to get an understanding of what's happening inside the organizations that we love. Or more importantly, for your prospects who might be considering doing business with you, they want a little bit of a peek inside so that they can understand, they can trust the people that they're going to be working with. So creating content that shows those key things about you and your company and why you do things will resonate really well with your customers. It actually works a lot better if they can just consume a bunch of your content instead of setting up a half-hour meeting to get to know you. It's very scalable to be able to have more people watch that exact same content, a video like this, but it's also something that can really work in your favor for other people that are trying to just do their research and don't want to feel like they're committed to having a prospecting meeting with you. So this is an awesome opportunity for you to start thinking about the things that you answer on a daily basis. Giving the camera a few minutes every day to just explain what you're doing, why you do it, and the way that you approach something that maybe your competitors do differently. With the seasons changing and anything that's happening around you that might be a really interesting time in your business, there's also the opportunity to show things that may not happen throughout the rest of the year. So take all of those things as opportunities for you to really grow and scale. The second thing that I want to talk about is understanding how the rise of personalized experiences is really important. And it's not necessarily the rise of personalized experiences, it's the rise of the ability for you to deliver those personalized experiences much easier. We understand how quickly you can build something with ChatGPT, how quickly you can release an AI agent that has a great spoken word that can service your customers and reduce a lot of the things you might do on a daily basis with 11 Labs. There's a whole video that I have coming on how we've built AI within our own agency to really make things a whole lot more streamlined. But I urge you to explore the way that you can take an approach that feels more personalized and much more catered towards each of the people that you talk to. It's amazing how we've taken this huge leap from internet software and email marketing of personalization with using a first name as the first line, using their company name or something else that is within the body of the text that just changes within a database that makes something feel incredibly personalized, that we can now take that to a whole other level with information that is automatically drawn by different AI agents and more fields that can be inputted to really create a personalized experience that somebody feels like they're talking to you and you're learning about each other. This, from a prospecting perspective, is really cool because it helps you qualify people being in the right place quickly. But from a research perspective, it also lets you get people a little bit quicker out the door if they're not your ideal customer, and you can let them know that. I think there's an opportunity for us to all be doing better work, and the personalized experiences is a really good example of that. Duplicating yourself in different situations, being able to have more information that is both gathered and shared to make something feel much more personalized is the same way that you can understand staying in a 1-star motel to a 5-star luxury resort that has a concierge that's trying to craft the ultimate vacation for you versus giving you your hotel key and not seeing you again until checkout. We're going from the motel, which was, probably the experience that a lot of people feel about small business websites over the last 15, 20 years, being very little beyond just what's on a business card or in a brochure, to something that feels much more like that 5-star resort. And I think that's a good example that a lot of people can relate to as a goal for us to shoot for when we're trying to understand how to provide better experiences. The power of AI when it comes to your branding is another way to look at how you can create more things that allow your brand to grow. And this really comes down to how powerful repurposing can be. For example, when I have this video, once we finish recording it here, we're going to take it into a software that will give us some editing opportunities. It gives us a transcript, the timestamps. It gives us some different title suggestions. And then that gets to something that can be posted on YouTube. Once it's posted on YouTube, then we take it and put it into another tool that allows us to turn it into shorts for YouTube, reels for Instagram and Facebook, and it creates content for TikTok. It also creates content for LinkedIn that is cropped slightly differently. All of that happens with our 3 tools in that example. The platforms haven't changed, but the ability for us to expand the brand really makes a difference because of the way that we can expand how much our work gets repurposed onto different platforms. It can be a real pain in the ass to just be trying to figure out what ratios are available, what fix and what different formats are required for each different platform. And trying to make it feel like you're everywhere can be exhausting. It's not something that you want to be taking up too much time, because in reality, the best ROI for your time is being able to get more of the knowledge that you have as an expert in your field out there into the wild, not trying to take the time to edit it. And for a lot of people, having the editor that can get you there honestly can be a real hurdle to cost. And so I think you should be looking into some of those tools that allow you to do those things and do them quickly. And it gives you a real good opportunity to be able to scale. The other thing that you can use to grow your brand is understanding that as you make things happen along the way, you can use tools to look at what you've created before, whether it's emails you've written, documentation, blog posts, social media, and look at how that can turn that overall work into your brand voice and your look and feel, so that everything that's created after that has a benchmark to take a look at. We've done this for years with brand guidelines that are shared that talk about color, logos, positioning, brand voice, words to use, words not to use, the audience to talk to. And now we can plug all of that in with the work that has been done for AI to start looking at how we can create different tools. For us, we've started to find that this is really successful with Surfer AI, which is an SEO tool that has a writing component built on top of it. And I think that's the place that a lot of people can start, because it's a pretty affordable tool. It's much cheaper than having a writer and a brand team that is there. And it gives you your content that's created on a regular basis. So that's just one example of all the different ways that you can create more content and really be able to scale. The future of online branding really comes to the exact same place that we were over the last 50 years. The people who are going to win are the ones who figure out how to amplify their voice. Traditionally, we saw this as business leaders who were figuring out how to be on radio shows, do their consulting more publicly, get TV shows that are more reality TV based, write books, go on tour, speak at different conferences. All of these different things that allowed us to see that they were able to build trust and build a bigger voice. And a lot of times this came with a book deal and a publicist. Now, and it's not even today, this has been for the last 5 years, you're able to do this in the digital space. There really hasn't been a change in terms of where attention is going with your target market since TikTok came along and really took a ton of market share away from a lot of the other social platforms. But we know now that creating and taking advantage of what your audience is looking for and being able to see what's out there where you can really grow and be around that too is exactly that. It's up to you figuring out how your creative ecosystem can fuel your growth and be able to do that in a way that it might become something that's really interesting. It might be something that starts to build on its own and your brand becomes bigger than your company that you're growing right now. But in reality, we know that this comes down to one thing. If people trust you, they're going to work with you. And right now, the thing that you have available is whatever you're selling within your company. And so it's time to really take your personal brand, instead of trying to compete with the masses that are selling the exact same thing that your company does. Take advantage of you being unique and you having a voice that your competitors aren't willing to speak up and talk about. Take that and run with it so that you can grow now and into the future with a sustainable growing system. Check out the links below for a lot of the different things that I've mentioned in this video. Take a look at them, seriously consider which things will help your workflow, and understand that you can grow your brand into the future. If you're thinking more about why you as the CEO should be in the spotlight, take a look at this video right here and really take this as another opportunity to talk about this same topic, which is about being the CEO that's in the spotlight. All right, until next time.